Hello, everybody. I'm Peter Grant with Zaner Metals in Denver. Welcome to This Week in Metals. Welcome, Peter Thomas in Chicago. How
Hey,
are you?
I'm good. Hey, welcome everyone. It's you're stepping into the last trading day of the month here, and boy, it's been an exciting month, and I hope everyone's had the opportunity to do well this month.
Hey, the summer doldrums are winding down.
Yeah, yeah. We're getting the converse here, and it's been very unusual, to see June, July as active as it's been, and then we come in into this month, this month, and we felt a little slowdown in the purchasing. And Peter, we've seen a little slowdown in the premiums too, correct?
Earlier in the month, we saw premiums moderate. I guess, maybe 2 weeks ago they came down a little bit and have been
Yeah.
kind of holding steady. So you're right. It may be, I don't know about Chicago, but it's been hot here in Denver and dry. And we finally, on Friday last week, got a little bit of rain. So
Yeah,
yeah.
we're still waiting, so it's been rough. But hey, let's jump right into gold, shall we?
Yeah, gold had a good week last week, up
Yeah,
1.3% about. It was the first
right,
higher weekly close in three, so good to see us back on the
right.
upswing again.
3 weeks, yeah,
But still, confined to the range that was set early in August. A lot of things going on.
yeah.
Dollar weakness still, COVID
Well,
uncertainty,
let's look at that
geopolitical.
dollar weakness.
Yeah.
I mean, we're at 2-year lows on the dollar, which equates to about a 1% drop in the dollar. I mean, that goes back that goes back almost 2 years to see these
Yeah,
numbers. So that's pretty
2018.
significant for gold.
Right,
Yeah,
right. And
yeah,
and we've kind of broken through all the support levels on the dollar
right.
index, which suggests that there's more room to run. A
More
lot of
room,
this,
yeah.
a lot
So
of
that's going to
this,
give us a lot of underlying strength here,
yeah, good. A little bit of a tailwind for gold
right?
on the forex front, and a lot of it has to do with I guess the big news last week was the Fed Symposium, and
Yes,
an indication that they're going for an average inflation figure of around 2%. They'll let it run above
right.
2% if need be, as long as it sort of washes out over time and is at or is near the 2% target. So basically, we're going to see additional accommodation. Still kind of quiet on that yield curve controls, but
30 years seeing a little bit of a rally. I think towards the end of the show we'll point out what we're going to see in this coming week. But the tapestry is starting to get woven. We're going to get a better picture next week from the Fed, and you can go over that for us.
well, so we've basically been super accommodative for over a decade now, and they couldn't get inflation up to 2%. So 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 I don't know
Right?
what they think they're going to do now to they've thrown trillions of dollars of
Trillions, yeah,
inflation
yeah,
at the
with a
market.
T.
Um,
And
you
now
know,
it's a commonplace word.
yeah, yeah. So, but nonetheless, it helps the gold market. It sort of fortifies that strategy that if you do have concerns about inflation, and now you know that the Fed is prepared to let inflation run above the 2% target, that you hedge yourself by buying gold. You buy
Gold ain't a
gold.
bad place to be, and it certainly hasn't been. I mean, surprisingly enough, it looks like it's going to finish this trading month up and right into that zone, like you were saying. And, we could see it above 2,000 again. The possibility is certainly there.
Yeah, it feels like um, action over the last 3 weeks of August have been corrective and consolidative, and that would
Yeah.
suggest that the dominant trend is still in force, and that we will see additional trade above 2,000 seems to be the consensus among the talking heads in the metals industry, of
Yep.
which look at our heads. We're part of that crowd.
We're part of that group. Absolutely. We
My
are
head
part of the
is
talking
talking.
heads, but but you can't hand out this. This happens to be our syndicated little show. So you guys want to send it out, call us, okay?
That's right. We're happy to let you send it out, but call us first.
Yeah.
Right. So good month in
Yeah.
silver. Good week in silver last week.
Yeah.
Or,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
sorry, in gold. And
And
let's
gold
move on to
and
silver.
gold and silver, both. I
Yeah. So
mean,
silver
we
even
had
had a
some
better
wild
week.
action.
Yeah, silver had a better
Yeah.
week last week. It was up
Yeah.
about 2.7%.
Yes.
So, as I always say, I love it when the ratio is under pressure. And
Yeah,
so,
you do.
silver's up 2.7 and gold's only up 1.3. My ratio
So we got a little
continues to
tightening
work.
there. Yeah.
It was
Right.
a second consecutive higher weekly close.
Yeah.
And again, we're still, well within the range that was established early in August. The market still looks good.
Well,
Wild
what was
swings, though,
interesting, wait a
right?
minute though. We saw 5.1 million ounces of silver going back in to, or what we refer to as a redemption, for you stock traders who understand that. People were coming out of their metal, out of their silver, taking profits. So I know I was trying to decide whether it was window dressing for month end for portfolio guys, or whether in effect that we just saw some profit taking.
It is not uncommon to see, uh, funds and so forth lock
Right.
in profits
Yep.
into month end.
Yeah.
So you could very well be right.
Yeah.
But my guess is, again, kind of very similar to my opinion on gold. Action over the last 3 weeks has appeared to be corrective consolidative.
Yeah, you've been
And
calling that pretty, and you
yeah,
know what? It feels that way. I mean, it has a different feel to it. It's been very, I mean, if you were buying breaks, you did pretty well.
Indeed, and
Yeah,
again, it seems $30 is still an appealing level on the upside, and it may take
sure.
a while to get there. But we continue to see pretty wild swings in the market,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
you're the silver expert, man. You come out of the pits
Sure.
and stuff. I mean, how
Yeah.
how is how does this compare with some of the volatility you experienced back in the late 70s and
Back in the
early
day.
80s? Yeah.
Well, I mean, when I was standing on the floor holding a deck, and the runner would bring an order in. Let's say a runner brought an order in for 100 lots. So it said buy 100 on the order. And I would say buy 100 at 7. And if a guy said buy it, then the trade was written up on the board, and we would clock 100, 500,000 ounces of traded hands. I would write in, I would endorse the order, I would hand it back to the runner. I would look at the guy who bought it. I said, bought 100. He would confirm it. It would go back out at about 500 decibels because there's,
Right.
large people. And off it would go. And the runner would run it to the desk where it would go in. And then it would go from there. And then it would get key punched in.
Yeah.
So
And even
all that time, but so all that time would transpire between the time the order came in, it was executed, then it went back out, then it was key punched in, and then it would be confirmed, and on and on. So there was a big pile of paper, which is why it was called a deck, and all of these things would transpire. Now a guy reaches over, taps the keys 2 or 3 times, bingo, trade is done. So what that means to you as the looking at it from the outside now, uh, guys are trading on their phones, they're trading on their computers, and they're doing large quantities, and it's happening instantaneously. So the movements are far more violent because there's no continuity, there's no flow going in and out of the pit, guys filling orders, the delay, none of that's happening. Everything is instantaneous. And then, Pete, tell them what an algo does.
Well, yeah, the algo just does it automatically.
Yes,
They
exactly.
whatever
Yes.
the whatever the inputs are, it'll automatically trigger trades based on
Right.
dollar movement, for example. So if you get like,
Okay.
10 down ticks in the dollar index, then it automatically will buy, 100 lot of gold futures or what have you. I mean, it can be
whatever you have,
any
right?
number of inputs, but to kind of like take it back one more step. And I kind of come from, I'm not quite of the same era as you, but close.
Right.
You know, when you know, even before it gets to the trade desk on the floor and the runner, you know, usually there's a couple series of phone calls. You know, I, as a
Oh yeah.
broker at the Merc, you know, I you know, my phone would ring, I'd pick up the phone, it would be a
Sure.
customer, you know, he'd place the order with me,
Uh,
I'd write it down, boom, time
How you
stamp it.
doing?
Yeah, well, yeah,
How's
it's
your
like
wife?
some
What's
chit
going
chat,
on?
some chit chat
Your
for
runner
sure.
comes over, you, huh? What's going on? You
You know, and then I would call the floor. I'd call the desk on the floor with the other
right.
phone and put
Oh,
the order
sure, sure.
through, and then everything that you said would transpire after that. So I mean,
Oh
there's
yeah.
even more involved to it. And then you know it reverses, and you know you know the floor calls me with the fill, and I call the customer, and I get the phones going, and
Right,
yeah,
right.
and
And then he
the
goes,
phones
"Well, wait a
had these
minute, it moved seven
cords.
cents, and I got a 500,000 ounces. You know what? I just made $35,000. Maybe I'll take profit right
Yeah,
now. You
yeah,
know, I put it back in. You know, it's like,
right,
whoa, you know,
right.
fun times, man,
Yeah,
fun
they
times.
were good times. They were different
Yeah,
times for sure.
yeah.
So,
But
yeah, well,
so
you make a
that
really good point.
answers, you know, that answers what a lot of you have been asking us for a couple of weeks is why do we see these big violent vol moves? It's because the speed of the trade is tremendous. There's nobody like myself or Pete picking up the phone and calling orders in and then or flashing them in by hand or whatever you happen to arbitragers doing them. It's a different flow. It's all automated, much faster, and the volumes are bigger.
And
So we're seeing more money getting tossed around and we're seeing them get executed much faster. And that, I think, will answer why the heck are we seeing these big moves so fast? And
right.
that's what it is.
And
Okay,
to,
so
we're
that's why
fully,
you see $1.35 in silver in one day, which we've
yeah,
never seen before.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we're fully automated too on the Tornado platform. You know,
Oh yeah,
our clients
absolutely.
bypass brokers like me and just put in
And
their own
me.
orders on the platform.
Sure.
And we have
Oh
auto
yeah.
hedge as well, where even like
I was
our
just gonna
clients
say
aren't
we have the
necessarily
same
involved.
thing.
That
You
you
know,
know they
we
get
have things where guys are online where we write programs for guys that are doing eBay and they're selling product on eBay and eBay automatically flashes into Tornado and lifts or puts a hedge on whatever it happens to be. Nobody, we have guys that don't even know what their positions are till they turn the thing on because it's all automated, which
yeah.
is very interesting to me because I was talking to one of the bigger traders in the world the other day and he's with us and I said to him, we were chatting. I go, "Where's Silver at?" He goes, "I don't know." I said, "Neither do I. Let me look." I mean, the two of us, you know, we're like, for a moment, we were like, "Where are we at?" And he's like, "I don't know." He goes, "Since I went automated on Tornado, I don't look at prices anymore." I was like, "Yeah, that's kind
He's
of
making
scary,"
his
you
margin.
know?
He's making his
Yeah,
margin, and that's the important number to
that's it.
him.
Right. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's you know that's part of the beauty of the tornado system is
Yeah,
you
sure.
don't have to worry about wild market swings like that if you're hedged on the tornado platform. You know you're making your margin, and
Yeah,
that's the important number that goes to the bottom line in your business.
you're beta neutral, as we say in the business. So you doesn't
Neutral.
matter whether it goes up or down.
Yep,
But
indeed.
you know what? I think we took a little bit of time with silver, but I think we answered a pretty important question.
Yeah.
What do you think of the PGMs here, Pete? I mean, you know,
But you know, range bound. I mean, both of them were up
yeah,
about 1% last week.
right.
So they did okay last week, but still, again, locked within the ranges. And you know, I'm still kind of inclined to favor the upside. But interesting article last week from Horaeus about
Okay,
risks to the PGMs
they write a
uh,
good
due to
article.
the transition to electric cars. That over the long run, as there's more electric
Mhm.
cars, then there's less need for catalytic converters, obviously, and that's you know a big piece of the demand equation for the PGM certainly. What do you think about that?
Well, you know, I'm a member of the Platinum Institute, and I always read their stuff. It's very good, and they have been following that very closely, along with a lot of friends of mine in copper. We use, in your average car, 20 to 40 pounds of copper. We'll go up to 120 pounds of copper in an electric car. So there's a yin and a yang there. There's a flow, but I believe that we're not going to see the electric flow as large as we think initially. We are seeing some interesting pickup trucks being built for hauling that are electric. I think that's going to have a little bit of a dent in it, but not that great. We're As the stockpiles of PGMs, platinum, palladium, continue to go down, which we've seen every year now, and demand hasn't been that great. But let's think about this: there is a pent up demand because we're not selling cars, and what's happening is they're not being built to replace the small amount of cars that are moving off the lot. So this has been ticking away at the product that's on the lot. We're going to end up in a deficit here very shortly. And I think all of a sudden there's going to be a wave of demand on the PGM. So watch out. We could have a pop in here and everybody go, what happened? What happened is Honda came in, all the major manufacturers came in and started buying for catalytic converters because they ended up with shortages on the lot and they started the line again. Guys have come back after COVID and they start manufacturing again. There's going to be a demand for product. The question is how much product, and it's going to be a very interesting to see that monster getting fed. And if it's getting fed copper, platinum, and palladium, which it will be, and of course nickel and other type of anti-corrosive zinc, things like that. I think the commodities are braced for a really good, strong run here.
Commodities in general have performed great.
Yeah,
So and the metals are certainly a big part of that. Let's touch on copper
sure.
real
And
quick.
look at the housing too, Pete. I mean, honestly,
Yeah,
let's why don't we jump into Dr. Copper here, because I mean, pending housing sales and housing sales have been monsters this week,
yeah,
right?
2.8% higher last week. Third consecutive higher weekly close. The first daily and weekly close above $3 occurred on Friday. I think
Yes.
that's a good
Yeah.
sign. The resistance level we're watching, 302.77 was the high from a couple weeks ago. And then
Yeah.
that retracement level, 303.06, is still intact. But I like that we closed above $3. What do you think?
I'm thinking we haven't had a close above 303 since 2018. So we got a couple of years of juice here. I'm looking at the Chinese numbers. I think they just said they're going to increase their demand because of stockpile shortages by maybe as much as 11%. That's a big number when you
That's a
think
big
of
number.
the fact that they consume anywhere from 60 to 63% of all the copper out there for production. We could see a very, very interesting demand. Now, I know we've been talking 303 to 308 as really a big, big resistance number because of the years that have gone by without it being able to pierce that. But if it does, Pete, I know you have a number in your back pocket here. What is it?
I think, I like 330 after,
I know you do. Yeah.
yeah.
And it's hard to argue because there's nothing in between there. I mean, 323, 328, it'll start getting tired, but 330 is really possible. But if it keeps banging off of this 303 number and it can't get through it, we'll watch it. But what I'm saying is to our scrappers who follow this show very closely, platinum, palladium, and copper all have underlying interest. So let's be real careful here as far as how much we sell for our hedging. Let's if you want to take some money off the table, you've got a lot of AutoCAD sitting around, and we see a good run here very shortly. We put some money in your account. We're good with that. We'll do it for you. But in the meantime, let's look for a good pop in this copper. The potential's here. And
Yeah.
if you remember, Pete, we came on the show a very long time ago at 208 and told people not to be selling this stuff. So far, so good.
Yeah, indeed. And as you mentioned, housing data that came out last week was pretty strong, beat expectations kind of across the board.
Yeah,
Prices are good, so that's all conducive to the copper market as well. Um,
absolutely.
Durable goods orders for July.
Yes.
smashed expectations. They came in at
It blew my mind, blew
plus
my mind. And that is one of, I mean,
11.2.
for people who don't understand how much copper that is, believe me, they use a lot of metal in washing machines, in dryers, and also in refrigerators.
Yeah.
So those three alone account for a lot of copper consumption.
Yeah. So plus 11.2. Expectations were only plus 4.1, and that's
Right.
versus plus 7.7 in June. And so, as you might recall, we were kind of thinking that with the return of COVID, that the July data might, be slumping off a little bit, but it
Yes.
doesn't appear that way.
No, it doesn't look that way at all.
Good personal income number, again, beat expectations, plus 0.4 on expectation of minus 0.5. PCE was better than expected, so people are buying stuff. So the
Right.
data are, keep coming in better than expected.
It is stronger than it. Now, what have we got next this coming week? Because
Yeah, big week.
there's two big ones, right?
Well, we've got the ISM numbers coming out.
Right.
We have auto sales, which will play big into
That's
the
going to be very
PGMs.
big. That's the one I'm looking
Here's
for.
the expectations for autos plus 2.7 million, for trucks plus 8.7 million, light
That's
trucks.
huge.
So
Huge
that's good number.
Yeah.
Factory orders plus 5.8% is the
Okay.
expectation, and then of course
I
on
like that.
Friday the big non-farm payrolls number, 1.4
Well, what's the
million.
expectation on that?
Plus 1.4 million.
Boy, we're still above the million, huh?
Yeah, with the unemployment rate dropping to 9.9.
Ah,
So back below 10% would be,
okay.
a big plus for the economy
I'd like
as
to
well.
see it.
Yeah,
I'd like to see
absolutely.
it.
So that's how we'll end the week, and
I think so.
yeah. So it
I
should
think
be.
I think I tell you what, let's hope for some good employment numbers. Let's hope for some good auto sales. Let's get our scrappers out there. Keep rolling, guys. Keep the shiny side up. We appreciate you. You're the backbone of this nation, keeping the metal flowing when the mines have been shut down. You guys have been holding up your end of the log for quite some time. Thanks a lot from all of us. And that's about it from me.
And that's about it from me. And so you guys have a great trading week. I'm Peter Grant with Zaner Metals in
I'm
Denver.
Pete Thomas. And remember, you could still buy, we still have metal available at the, which site, Pete?
ZanerPreciousMetals.com.
Beautiful, beautiful. So we'll get it to you as fast as possible. No 6 or 7 week delay on product. We have product on hand. Thanks.
And if you want more information about hedging, tornadobullion.com is our other website.
That's a good
so
site.
please check us there. Reach out through that site. There's a contact applet, and we'll get back in touch with you and give you all the information you need to know about hedging your metal exposure.
Outstanding. Thank you, Pete.